Sparks in the wreckage smoke still rose from the broken ground of the battlefield on the moon called Varix 7. The war had ended years ago, but the land still smelled of burnt metal and old blood. Twisted machines and crashed alien ships lay everywhere. Silent and forgotten. Jake Rowan, a human mechanic, moved carefully across the blackened rocks. His boots crunched over broken glass and bones. He wore a dusty jacket, patched with old flags, and carried a heavy tool pack on his back. He wasn't a soldier. He didn't care about politics or aliens. He was just a scavenger looking for old tech to sell. As he climbed into the remains of a massive alien warship, his flashlight flickered across the ruined walls. The metal here was thick and melted in some places, like something huge had torn through it. He climbed deeper. The silence was heavy. Too heavy. Then he heard it. A sound. Not wind. Not metal shifting. Something. Breathing. Jake froze. He turned off his light and listened. It came again, slow, deep breaths. Weak, struggling, almost like the sound of a dying engine mixed with an animal's growl. Jake hesitated. He should leave. Could be a trap. Could be something dangerous, half alive, and ready to kill. But his curiosity was stronger. He moved toward the sound, passing burned-out control panels and broken alien weapons. A large wall had collapsed ahead. But Jake found a way through a narrow gap. Sparks flickered somewhere behind the wreckage. Then he saw it. His breath caught. Lying in a nest of twisted steel was something huge. It was shaped like a dragon-long neck, powerful limbs, massive wings, folded under its broken body. But it wasn't just a beast. Parts of its body were metal like armor grown into bone. Its tail ended in a plasma blade. Glowing tubes ran along its spine, leaking soft blue light. One wing was completely crushed. Its back was twisted and strange. Green blood stained the floor, but its eyes were open, and it was watching him. Jake took a step back. The creature didn't move. It couldn't, but its glowing eyes followed his every motion. He raised his hands slowly. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. Even though he wasn't sure if it could understand him, the dragon made a low, broken sound. It was trying to speak, but no words came, only a soft growl and a wince of pain. Jake stepped closer, heart racing. He saw now that the spinal column was damaged, wires torn, bones cracked, metal pieces sparking and burnt. It looked like someone had shot it in the back and left it to die. He couldn't believe it. These biomechanical dragons were used by the alien races during the war. They were living weapons, deadly, fast, nearly impossible to kill. And this one was still alive. Barely. Jake should have run. He should have taken a picture and left. But something in the dragon's eyes made him stop. It wasn't just pain. It was something more. A silent plea. "Help me." Jake set down his tool bag. "You're lucky I fixed things," he muttered. He started carefully cleaning the area. Sparks jumped from broken cables. He used a plasma cutter to clear metal debris from the dragon's side. The creature growled again, but didn't try to attack. It was too weak. But it watched closely. Jake worked for hours. He sealed a few leaking tubes, reconnected some wires. He had no idea if it would help. The technology was far beyond anything humans had built. But he was good with machines, and this creature was part machine. As the sky outside turned dark, Jake built a small fire in the wrecked chamber. He ate from a ration pack and tossed a piece of dried fruit near the dragon's mouth. It didn't move. Didn't eat, but its eyes softened. "You're not just some war monster, are you?" Jake asked softly. No answer. Only breathing. He leaned back against the metal wall and looked at the stars. Through a hole in the ceiling. Maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe someone would find him here. Maybe the dragon would heal and eat him. But deep down, Jake knew he couldn't walk away. Not now. Something was different about this creature, and somehow it felt like saving it was the beginning of something much, much bigger. He didn't know yet, but what he was doing right now would change the future of two worlds. Forever. Bones of fire. Heart of metal. Jake woke up to the soft hum of broken circuits and the weak breathing of the dragon. He had slept on cold metal, curled next to the fire he built from scrap wires. His body ached, but his mind was already racing. He turned to check on the creature. The dragon still hadn't moved. But its eyes were open and sharper now, watching, understanding. Still alive, Jake whispered. That's something. He grabbed his tools and stood up. Sunlight leaked in through cracks in the ruined ceiling above, casting golden lines across the dragon's huge body. Its scales shimmered like polished armor, but some were chipped, burnt, or missing. The mix of skin and metal was seamless, like it had been born this way, not built. Jake inspected the spinal area again. There were tubes and wires melted together, bone fusing with metal, nerve endings tangled with circuits. It was no normal creature. It was something ancient and powerful, something forgotten, and someone had tried to erase it. Jake leaned in and whispered, "Who did this to you?" The dragon blinked slowly. Its head moved slightly, just a twitch, but that was more than before. Jake reached into his bag and pulled out a small power cell. "This might help," he said, more to himself. He connected it to a damaged panel near the dragon's chest. The light flickered, then surged. The dragon's body shivered. Its claws twitched. Its eyes glowed brighter. Jake took a step back, heart pounding. Whoa, easy, easy now. A sudden pressure filled the air, like the room had become heavier. Then a strange sound echoed through Jake's mind. A voice, not from the mouth, not from the air, inside his head. "Who are you?" Jake stumbled. What the hell? The dragon didn't speak with words, not out loud. But the message was clear, deep, and slow. It felt like thunder trapped in a whisper. "I'm Jake," he said, looking directly into those glowing eyes. "I found you here. You were dying." A pause. "You fixed me." "I tried." "Still working on it." The voice returned, clearer now. "Pain, fire, betrayal, silence." Jake frowned. "What happened to you?" A flicker of memories flashed in Jake's mind. Firestorms, explosions, dozens of dragons flying through the sky, burning everything. Then one turned, this one, flying the other way. Running. Then darkness. Jake gasped and dropped to one knee. "You were one of them, but you stopped?" The dragon blinked once. "I chose peace. They punished me. I would not burn the innocent." Jake couldn't believe it. This monster, the kind that had terrified humans during the war, had turned against its own kind. "You're not like them," Jake whispered. "My name is Kathira," the voice said inside his mind. "Kathira," he repeated. He looked at her body again. The full repair was far beyond his tools. He needed energy cells, structural support, maybe even alien software just to make her move again. But he couldn't give up now. "Okay, Kathira," he said, pulling out a scanner. "Let's start with your nervous system." He connected leads to various ports in her back, testing voltage, checking data lines. Some wires were still live, others completely dead. She flinched when one probe touched a sensitive area. "Sorry," he said quickly. "Didn't mean to hurt you. I feel, again. That is good." Jake worked for hours. Sweat dripped from his face. His hands got burned from hot coils and cut by broken glass. He fixed small pieces one by one, reconnected circuits, replaced metal joints using parts from other wrecks. Kathira didn't speak much, but she watched. And when she did speak, it was always in Jake's mind like a deep echo far away, yet close. "You are not a soldier. No, just a fixer. Yet, you choose to help a weapon." Jake paused. "You're not a weapon anymore." "Not to me." A long silence followed. Then she said something strange. "A storm is coming. I dreamed of it while trapped here. Two worlds will fall. Unless I rise again, Jake stared at her. What kind of storm? But Kythera had already gone silent. That night, Jake had dreams. He saw a black sky filled with strange ships. He saw Earth burning. And alien worlds screaming in silence. And always something watching from the shadows, not human. Not dragon. Something else. Jake woke up sweating. He looked at Kythera. She was still there, still paralyzed. But something in the air had changed. Something dark was coming, and Jake began to understand this dragon wasn't just a survivor. She was a warning. Voice of the Forgotten. The next morning, Jake felt different. He wasn't just fixing a machine anymore. He was trying to heal his soul. Kythera hadn't spoken again since the last vision, but her eyes followed him as he worked. Her breathing was stronger. The blue lights running through her body glowed a little brighter. Jake poured water from his canister into a cracked metal bowl. He placed it near her mouth. She didn't drink, but her eyes softened. "You're getting better," he said softly. "But it's not enough. You need full power. Your systems, your spine. They're still broken." He leaned against a fallen beam, wiping sweat from his forehead. The wreckage around them felt less cold now. Less dead. Maybe because Kythera was alive. Or maybe because something was waking up inside her. Jake had connected a small interface to one of her neural nodes. He wasn't sure it would work, but he had to try. As soon as he turned it on, the air shimmered with heat. Then like a wave, Kythera's voice filled his mind again. "Jake." He sat up straight. "I'm here. I can share, but it may hurt." "Are you ready?" Jake blinked. "Share? What?" There was no time to ask more. The moment he nodded, a flood of images rushed through him. He saw skies burning, towers falling, alien cities made of light exploding into dust, giant dragons Kythera's kind swooping through the air, destroying everything. But he also saw her, flying the other way, refusing to obey. She had protected a human child once, lifted it from rubble, fled from her own kind, hunted and betrayed. Then chains, fire, pain, silence. Jake dropped to his knees. The vision faded. Kythera's voice returned, tired but clear. "I was made to protect, not destroy." Jake breathed hard, trying to calm himself. Those memories, they felt real. They are real. They are mine. Now they are yours too. He looked at her, eyes wide. "Why show me?" "Because you are the first one who listened." Jake nodded slowly. She wasn't just a war beast. She had a conscience, and a story no one had ever heard. Later that day, Jake checked the interface data again. The connection was deeper now. Her thoughts blended with his. They didn't need words anymore, just focus. "Kythera," he said, "if I can repair your spinal cord, will you fly again?" A pause. "Yes, but something else is needed. A power cell. Ancient. Buried. Only found on the world where I was made." Jake frowned. "Where is that?" "Eltherion. Now a dead zone. Forbidden by both humans and aliens." Jake stood up, thinking hard. "Even if I get there, how will I find it?" Kythera's eyes glowed brighter for a moment. She lifted her front claw slightly and scratched a symbol into the metal floor. 3 circles joined by lightning. "This is the mark. The core is inside the Hall of Silence, beneath the old mountain. Guarded. Hidden." Jake sighed. "You're not making this easy." "It was never meant to be easy, only worthy." Jake smiled faintly. "Well, lucky for you, I'm stubborn." That night, another vision came. He saw himself older, standing between two armies. Humans on one side, aliens on the other. Both looked ready to fire. Above them, in the sky, a black shadow opened like a hole. Something came through. Something ancient, insect-like, and cold. Its ships didn't fly. They crawled across the sky like spiders, tearing everything apart. Humans and aliens both screamed. Nothing stopped it. Except one thing. Ka single quotes th. IR dot, and she wasn't alone. Jake awoke with a jolt. He understood now. Kathira hadn't just been built to fight. She was built to stop something worse. Those things in my dream, he said aloud. They're real, aren't they? Kathira didn't reply, but she didn't have to. Jake could feel it in his chest. Oh wait, a warning. If she didn't rise again, the galaxy would fall. Jake opened a damaged console and rerouted power to the neural core. Kathira winced as energy surged into her. Sparks danced across her wings. Hold on, he said, tightening a valve. Almost there. Suddenly, the console screen flickered to life. Alien script scrolled across it. Jake's eyes widened. Wait, is this your memory file? Kathira's voice returned, quiet and strained. Double quotes, yes, it will guide you, but protect it. There are those who do not want the truth known. Jake copied the file onto a portable drive and sealed it inside his jacket. Kathira, he said, I don't know why I was the one who found you, but I'm starting to think it wasn't by accident. The dragon's voice came again, just one line. Fate walks where courage dares. Jake smiled. I'll bring back what you need. Then he looked toward the stars, toward Eltherion, toward the mountain of silence. And toward the truth waiting in the dark. The missing code, the stolen ship was small and dented, but fast. Jake piloted it alone, fingers tight on the controls. The old craft rattled as it entered deep space. Sparks jumped from loose wires, but the engines held. Behind him, Kathira's memory drive blinked softly inside a shielded case. Ahead of him, Ltherion. The planet was hidden from normal star maps. It wasn't just forbidden, it was erased. Not marked as dangerous, not marked at all. Lost on purpose, Kathira had guided him through a secret route, an old jump gate buried in a scrap field. It had opened for only a few seconds. Just enough to pull him through. Now, the planet spun below. It was dark, covered in ash clouds and broken mountains. Dead rivers ran across the land like scars. No green, no light. Just silence. Jake didn't know what he expected, but he didn't expect the bones. Giant skeletons lay across the ground. Dragon bones, dozens. Some were full grown. Others were smaller, crushed, twisted. Once, this place had been a nest. Now it was a graveyard. Jake landed near a jagged cliff. The wind screamed outside as he stepped down in his pressure suit. The dust was thick and oily. He held Kathira's symbol, 3 circles with lightning drawn into a metal disc. He scanned the horizon, searching. The Hall of Silence had to be nearby. Hours passed. Jake climbed broken hills and crawled through wrecked tunnels. He found old temples carved into stone, their walls covered with glowing alien runes. He passed a cracked statue of a dragon, its wings raised like a guardian. Then, he saw it. The mountain ahead was tall and smooth and naturally shaped. A massive door was carved into its base. The symbol on the door matched the one Kathira gave him. Jake approached slowly, brushing dust from the markings. Suddenly, the ground rumbled. The door opened with a low hiss. He stepped inside. The Hall of Silence wasn't just a hall, it was a vault. Deep tunnels led down into the dark, lined with glowing walls. The deeper he went, the quieter it became. His footsteps didn't echo. His breath felt too loud. Even the air seemed to hold its voice. Finally, he reached a chamber filled with strange machines. In the center stood a pedestal. On it rested the ancient power core. It looked like a glowing heart, pulsing with quiet energy. Metal veins stretched out of it like frozen lightning. It wasn't just tech. It was alive. Jake stepped forward, amazed. Kathira, this is it. As he reached out to grab it, a voice stopped him. Step away from the core, human. Jake spun around. 3 tall figures stepped from the shadows. They weren't human. They weren't dragons. They were something else. Their bodies were thin, sharp, and insect-like. Their eyes glowed red. Their skin was dark like midnight stone, covered in moving patterns. Jake stepped back. "Who are you?" One of them tilted. "Its head. We are the builders. And that core is not for you. Kythera needs it to survive. She was not meant to survive." Jake narrowed his eyes. "You built her?" The creature nodded slowly. "We built many weapons, shields, monsters. We created balance through control. But she broke that balance. She chose peace. She disobeyed." Jake looked down at the core, then back at them. "You're the reason the war never ended. You used both sides. The builders didn't deny it. You are clever for a human," the lead one said. "But you will not leave here." Jake pulled a small device from his belt and pressed it. The whole vault shook. From the top of the mountain, a flare exploded into the sky. A signal. Far away, on the moon where Kythera rested, an old system awakened. Her wings twitched. Her vision pulsed red. She was needed. Back in the vault, the builders hissed and leapt toward Jake. He dove behind a pillar. A shot of energy tore past his head, melting stone. He rolled across the floor, grabbed the core, and shoved it into his shielded pack. The weight nearly crushed him, but he didn't stop. He ran up the tunnels, through the hall, out the mountain. He fired his emergency beacon. His ship responded and rose into the air. Builders were behind him, fast, crawling up the cliffs like shadows with claws. Jake reached the landing ramp just in time. He slammed the button. The door closed. The ship launched. He collapsed into the seat, panting. The power core pulsed inside the pack. He turned toward space, where Kythera waited. And behind him, far below, the builders watched from the cliffs in silence. They did not follow, but they would return. Jake didn't care. He had what she needed, and she was the only one who could stop them. Enemy in the shadows, the stars looked calm, but Jake knew better. His ship flew silently through black space, carrying the ancient core in its sealed box. Every few seconds, he glanced over his shoulder, half expecting those strange builders to appear again, crawling through the darkness. But they didn't follow. At least not yet. He gripped the controls tighter. "Hold on, Kythera, I'm coming." The coordinates lit up on his screen. The hidden moon where he had left her was just ahead. Verek-7, a dead battlefield. A place no one visited anymore. He dropped out of hyperspace, but something was wrong. The wreck field was glowing. Jake's heart pounded. No. Dozens of ships floated above the surface. Not human, not alien. Something else. Sharp edges, black steel, blinking red lights. They were already here. The builders. Jake dove low, skimming the surface. His ship rattled as blasts of red energy shot past him. One grazed his wing, alarm screamed. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the cabin. He forced the ship down fast, crashing near the old alien wreck where Kythera lay. The landing gear snapped. He didn't care. He grabbed the core, slung it over his shoulder, and ran. Inside the wreck, everything was dark. And still, the fire he once built was gone. Dust had settled again, but Kythera was still there. Her eyes opened as he stumbled in. "You returned." Jake dropped to his knees. "Barely. They tried to stop me." "Those things, you were right. They don't want you alive." He opened the case and revealed the glowing core. Kythera stared at it. Her eyes flared bright blue. "That is mine. That is my heart." Jake didn't waste time. He connected the core to her spinal interface. The moment it clicked in, her body shuddered. Lights flashed along her ribs. Her claws curled. Her wings twitched. Energy flooded her veins, metal and bone surged with power. Then came a terrible scream. Not from Thira. From outside. Jake rushed to the entrance. Builder drones were descending from the sky, spider-like machines crawling over the wrecks, scanning, searching. One spotted him and screeched. Jake fired his pulse pistol. One shot hit, but the others came fast. Behind him. A deep roar shook the ground. Kathira stood. For the first time, her body was whole. Wings spread wide, claws sharp, tail glowing with plasma. She stepped forward, crushing the floor beneath her. Builders paused, then charged. Jake ducked as Kathira leapt past him, her massive form slamming into the drones. She tore through them like paper. Flames poured from her mouth, melting machines to slag. Her tail whipped through the air, slicing enemies in half. Jake fired from behind, covering her sides, but there were too many. A large drone landed on top of the wreck, aiming a cannon at Kathira's head. Jake jumped between them, pulling out a high-voltage charge. "Hey, over here, bug!" He threw it. The blast exploded, throwing Jake backwards, but it worked. The drone fell, sparking and dead. Jake hit the ground hard. His leg twisted painfully. He cried out. Kathira turned, eyes wide. She stomped the last drone into pieces and rushed to him. Her body bent low, metallic skin clicking, wings folding gently. "You are hurt." "I'm fine," Jake groaned. "Just fix the galaxy now, please." Kathira lowered her body beside him. "Climb on." Jake hesitated, then pulled himself onto her back, holding onto thick metal plating between her shoulder blades. Kathira spread her wings, and for the first time in 100 years, she flew. The sky opened around them. Fire and smoke swirled. Behind, Kathira soared above the ruins, spinning and diving, dodging blasts, outflying the enemy ships. Jake held tight, laughing despite the pain. "You were built for war." Kathira's voice was calm. "I was built for balance. Now I must finish what was never done." She flew straight into the largest ship, blasting through its hull, burning corridors, crushing engines. The vessel exploded behind them. The remaining builder ships scattered. Fled. They weren't ready. But Kathira wasn't done. She flew high above the moon, looking down at the wrecks below. "We must tell them, all of them, human and alien. The builders hide in the dark. They are not finished." Jake nodded. "Then we warn them. We fight them, together." Kathira's wings glowed with FIRELIG. Double quotes, yes, together. Far below, the battlefield burned, but something new had been born in its ashes. Hope. The dragons roar. The galaxy didn't believe in dragons anymore. To most, they were just old war stories, beasts from a forgotten time, long dead and buried. A few remembered their fire. Even fewer remembered their voice. But now, that voice was rising again. Kathira soared through space. Her wings stretched wide like silver sails. Her body glowed from within, ancient tech now pulsing with full power. Jake sat on her back, gripping tight as the stars blurred past them. Behind them, the battlefield on Verac 7 shrank to a dot. In front of them, Earth's orbit, human airspace, and it was full of guns. "Warning," said the voice in Jake's helmet. "Unidentified ship approaching. Stand down or be fired upon." Jake clicked the "Come. This is Jake Rowan, civilian mechanic. I'm not alone. I have a high-value passenger. Do not open fire." A pause. "State species of passenger." Jake looked down at the dragon beneath him. He grinned. "Legendary." The Earth Defense Forces didn't open fire, not because they trusted him, but because they were too stunned to move. Thousands of people saw her arrive, Kathira, descending slowly through the clouds, wings spread like an angel of flame. Children pointed from rooftops. Soldiers froze in fear. Scientists stared through scopes and said one word again and again: impossible. Kathira landed on the United Earth platform, a massive floating base above the Atlantic. Jake climbed off and limped toward the shocked crowd of officers and leaders. "I need to speak to your top command," he said. They tried to arrest him. Kathira growled. The floor shook. No one touched Jake after that. Inside the command hall, Jake stood before the Alliance Council humans, aliens, androids, all gathered in one room. Lights blinked, cameras recorded, tension filled the air. "You expect us to believe," said one council member, "that the war wasn't truly between us, but because of a hidden race no one's seen in centuries." Jake didn't flinch. "I saw them. I fought them. I stole this from them." He placed the builder memory chip on the table. It lit up, displaying images in the air builder ships. Dark factories, Catharos memories. Fire, betrayal, pain, silence. Followed then murmurs. Some still didn't believe until Catharos stepped into the hall. The room went silent again. Her massive form filled the doorway. Her head bowed low, her voice echoing in every mind. "I was created by the builders. I turned against them. They are returning. And this time, they will not fight with fire. They will fight with shadows, with control." Jake looked at the crowd. "We need to unite, humans, aliens, everyone, or we all lose." For a long moment, no one moved. Then a voice spoke. "We believe you." An old alien general stepped forward and saluted. One by one, others followed. Not all, but enough. In the days that followed, something happened that hadn't happened in generations. Cooperation. Ships from both sides gathered in orbit. Scientists studied the builder data. Engineers tried to copy Catharos tech. Warnings were sent to outer systems. A plan was made. A resistance force. Small, fast, armed with truth and fire. Not just weapons, but hope. Catharos would lead. Jake would ride. Not because he was a soldier, but because she had chosen him. The night before the mission, Jake stood alone in the docking bay. He looked out at the stars. The fear was there, deep, cold, quiet. Then he felt her behind him. "You are afraid." He nodded. "Yeah, good, only fools are fearless," he smiled. "You're wise for a weapon, and you are brave for a mechanic." She bent low so he could climb on. Jake sat on her back, this time with armor and tools. The ship was waiting, the crew already loading. But Catharos wasn't just a ship. She was a symbol now. And tomorrow, the galaxy would hear her roar. Two worlds. One spark space was quiet. Too quiet. The resistance fleet drifted just beyond the dark nebula known as the Hollow Veil. Nothing living had come out of it in years. Some said the stars themselves avoided it, but Catharos hovered at its edge, her wings pulsing with light. Jake sat on her back, eyes locked on the black mist in front of them. He whispered, "They're in there, aren't they?" Catharos didn't need to answer. They both felt it. The builders, they had returned. The fleet behind them held only a few ships, human cruisers, alien speed vessels. A few drones and fighters. Not much. Not enough, but it wasn't about numbers. It was about the truth. Catharos' voice reached every mind in the fleet. "Today, we end what they started. Today, we burn the silence." And with that she flew, straight into the dark. The mist swallowed them. Instantly, light vanished. Sound vanished. Signals dropped. Jake's skin prickled under his armor. Shapes moved inside the clouds long. Twisted ships like insect shells. They didn't fly, they crawled. Hundreds of them. Thousands. The builders had been preparing. Waiting. And now they attacked. Blasts lit up the darkness. Resistance fighters screamed through the clouds, dodging claws and fire. Human and alien pilots flew together, side by side. Some fell. Some broke through. Catharos was fire in the dark. She roared louder than explosions, her tail slicing through enemy hulls. Her wings beat with power that tore drones apart. She dove, she rose, she spun. Unstoppable. Jake fired from her back, targeting weak spots, shouting commands through the cracked coms. He had never fought in a war, but now he was the war. Then the command ship appeared. It was massive, bigger than a mountain. Silent, Floating. Its skin was alive builder tech grown. Like bone and black steel. It had no windows. No lights. No weakness, but Jake saw it in his mind. The core. A glowing structure deep inside feeding the whole swarm. Jake pointed. There. That's where we end this. Kathira didn't hesitate. She flew straight toward it. The ship responded. Dozens of arms unfolded. Cannons, lasers, plasma webs. All fired at once. Kathira was fast but not fast enough. Blast hit her left wing. She screamed. Jake nearly fell as they spun downward. Smoke poured from her shoulder. Sparks flew from her back. No, Jake yelled. Hold on. Kathira steadied barely. We must finish it. Jake looked at the power cell inside her chest. It glowed, but it was fading. She didn't have much left. Then he made a choice. He climbed on her back and reached under her armor. Jake, what are you doing? She asked. He pulled the builder memory drive, the one she gave him. I'm going inside. He jumped. Jake landed hard on the enemy ship, rolled, and ran. His suit protected him from the crawling heat of the ship's skin. He reached a broken vent and squeezed through. Inside, the ship was worse. Dark tubes pulsed with liquid. The air was thick and buzzing like whispers crawling over his skin. Strange eyes blinked from the walls. Watching. Jake followed the feeling, the link to Kathira's memory core. Down corridors. Past creatures that didn't breathe. He finally reached a chamber, the builder core, a sphere of light floating in the center. It was alive. Jake stepped forward. Your time's up, he said. He pulled the memory drive and jammed it into the control slot. The core screamed. Energy exploded outward. Kathira, still flying outside, felt it. Jake! She flew toward the ship, even as her body burned. Inside, the ship began to shake. Builder drones fell from the sky. The enemy vessels stopped. The swarm lost control. Jake stumbled back, coughing. The chamber burned around him. He reached for the forward exit, but fire blocked the way. No way out. He whispered. Then Kathira smashed through the ship's wall. Her body glowed like a comet. Her wing was broken. Her chest sparked. But her eyes were fire. She reached for Jake. He jumped. She caught him. They flew out together as the command ship exploded behind them, breaking apart in slow motion. Light swallowing darkness. The battle was over. The swarm collapsed. Builders defeated. Not by an army, but by a mechanic and a dragon. Later, Jake woke up in a recovery pod. His leg was bandaged. His ribs were cracked. But he was alive. And beside him, in a giant healing chamber, was Kathira, resting, breathing. Oh, he smiled. You did it, he whispered. Her voice came, soft and warm. We did it. Months passed. The galaxy changed. The Alliance rewrote history. The war ended for real this time. And in every school, every hall, every story shared across stars, they remembered the tale. Not of a hero, not of a monster, but of a spark. A single act of courage that saved two worlds. Forever.